What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. And today we are talking about Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul, the fight that's coming up on Netflix in a couple of days. Me personally, I don't like Jake Paul. I don't really care for him. I don't really have respect for him. I have respect for him in a sense of the heart and the guts that he has to get in the ring in a square circle like any other fighter. You know, if you have the heart to step into that ring, you have that form of respect from me. But in terms of his character, I don't really care for his character. I don't care for how he portrays himself. I don't care for how he treats the sport of boxing. But I will say that from a lot of these training footages, a lot of how he's been carrying himself in training is definitely an improvement from how he used to treat it. He's definitely dedicating himself to the sport from the training perspective, you know, not from the fight perspective. You know, he hasn't fought anybody. He hasn't fought an active good boxer, you know. So I can't classify him as a boxer, you know. What was his last fight? Fucking Mike Tyson, Julio Cesar Chavez. I can't respect any of that, you know. I'm still kind of hurt after that Mike Tyson fight, to be honest with you. But he just dropped this training footage, you know. He's looking good. I mean, I can't really find no critique here other than the fact that he's not really moving his head, but it is just a 10-second clip, and it is just bad work. Anthony Joshua does have a mean right hand, a mean one too in general. You know, his jab and right hand is dangerous. You know, if you don't get your head off that center line, he's gonna catch you with it. But Jake Paul he's mixing the bag up. He's throwing in power shots. He's setting up his power shots, which looks really good. I see he has a lot of sparring partners in his camp, or a lot of good fighters in his camp, such as Okoye. I forget how to pronounce his name. He was a cruiserweight champion at one point, I believe. I think he's a heavyweight right now, if I'm not mistaken. I think he also had Frank Sanchez in the camp. Hell, I think he had Jared Anderson, if I'm not mistaken. I could 100% be lying. I remember seeing a picture of him with a couple of heavyweights a while ago. And I forget who it was, but I think it was Frank Sanchez, Jared Anderson, and Okoye. Hopefully, I'm not messing up his name, but he's definitely, if he's sparring with all of them, he's definitely taking this shit serious. Granted, I won't believe it until they're both in the ring about to throw their first punch at each other. I definitely won't believe it, but he's definitely taking this shit serious in the public's eye. You know, we don't know what's going through his mind right now. You know, he can definitely 100% be thinking, why the hell am I about to fight this former world champion, this knockout artist, when I could have just fought Roy Jones Jr. for a bag and you know, could care less about what the hell anybody else thinks. As a boxer and a boxing fan, I will say that I can break this down as much as I can. I can give Jake Paul the most amount of props that I can give him. But if this fight goes past the first, second, or third round, this fight is rigged. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I say that to say because I've seen people with more skill than Jake Paul who have started late in their career and get beat, get punished by people who are less skilled than Anthony Joshua. Anybody who knows boxing, anybody who's followed boxing, anybody who's a boxer themselves, they know that there's levels to this. You know, everyone knows that there is levels to this game. And Anthony Joshua is miles above Jake Paul when it comes to this shit. You know, he's been to the Olympics. He's had a great amateur background. He even started late. He started late. He started at 19, but he's had that amateur experience and he's had that professional experience and the Olympics experience to the point where it's no contest. It would be no contest at all. He's fought world champions. He's been a world champion. He's been in the ring with possibly the greatest heavyweight of the era, in Alexander Usyk. And you know, he's held his own. You know, Anthony Joshua is a monster in itself. You know, in his last fight, He did get knocked out against Daniel Dubois, but Daniel Dubois is an actual boxer. Daniel Dubois is a possible top 10 heavyweight in the division. And he, you know, knocked out Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is still a boxer at the end of the day. And Jake Paul hasn't had that experience. He hasn't fought on the level of any of Anthony Joshua's opponents, from his first opponents to his last. Well, I can't say his first. Well, when you first get out of the Olympics, a lot of times they match you up with good opponents to really test you. They don't really build you up. They usually just throw you in there. And if you do good, you do good. They'll throw you in sometimes with a ranked opponent for your first professional fight. And you know, hope that you do good. And clearly Anthony Joshua has passed that test. Jake Paul has not fought on that level. Jake Paul has not fought anyone who's been on the Olympic level. You know, he's sparred a lot of guys. I think he's been at the Olympic Center before, but sparring is sparring. Sparring is not an actual fight. When you in the ring and you getting hit with that 8-ounce and 10-ounce gloves, that's something completely fucking different, man. It's definitely different. But I will give props on Jake Paul for training his ass off and for looking serious, because he was about to fight fucking Tank. He was about to fight Tank. Tank is 5'6", 135 pounder. You know, there was no reason for that shit to fucking happen, and it was gonna happen. You know, I'm not saying that Jake Paul would have beat Tank, because he wouldn't have beat Tank, but it would have been more room and opportunities for him to say, I've been in the ring with a professional boxer. Like, no, you've been in the ring with a 135 pounder, bro. Now I give him props because he is fighting Anthony Joshua, but like I said, I won't believe it until he gets in the ring and until they throw that first punch. Now, like I said, in Anthony Joshua's last fight, he did get knocked out by Daniel Dubois. I think it was an overhand right that slumped him. And, you know, Jake Paul's favorite punch is an overhand right. Well, at least from the fights that I remember. I can't really remember the last Jake Paul fight that I watched, other than the Mike Tyson fight, which I'm still heard about, but that's a whole nother thing. Maybe his best option is to just go in that ring and just start spamming overhand rights, because there's no way he even gets past the jab of Anthony Joshua. Jake Paul's chin has not even really been tested by a hard power puncher. Last time when he fought Tommy Fury, I remember him getting outboxed, basically. I remember him, you know, getting frustrated and only having one gear. You know, that's where that experience level comes in. You know, that's when if that gear isn't working, that's when you shift into another one. But Jake Paul doesn't have that type of experience. He doesn't have that type of knowledge. Even though he has a great corner behind him, it's just that mindset that you have to have in the ring. You know, it's that experience that comes with it. I think in this fight, for Jake Paul to have a chance, he will have to be on the back foot. There is no way he's gonna find success by pressing Anthony Joshua back. He's gonna have to change up his style. He's gonna have to become a counter puncher. It sounds weird to say, but he's gonna have to become very timid. Because he's not gonna be used to getting hit in 10-ounce gloves by a heavyweight, with no headgear on. He's gonna have to become very timid. He's gonna have to change up his style and become a counter puncher if he wants to have success in this fight. Only time I see him having success on the front foot is if Anthony Joshua is backing up on purpose to catch his breath or something. Other than that, I think Jake Paul is gonna have to become a counterpuncher. I think he's gonna have to use his speed, his youthfulness. I'm sure he's younger than Anthony Joshua, and box on his toes. There's no world in which he slugs it out with Anthony Joshua or even really outboxes him, because he would have to stay perfect. I think this fight is 10 rounds. He would have to stay perfect for 10 rounds with an actual boxer who's also a power puncher. That's a pretty difficult job to do, man. But yeah, if they really step into that ring on the 19th, I want to know what goes through Jake Paul's mind, because if Anthony Joshua has not taken a bribe or anything, this fight should not go past 3 rounds, to be honest with you. There is no world in which Jake Paul beats Anthony Joshua in a good, honest fight. Hopefully there's definitely no funny business in this fight, because it'll just be a waste of everyone's time. People already have their opinions on how the sport is right now, and a rigged fight of this magnitude would definitely shift their opinions backwards. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch y'all in the next one.